Hello, welcome back to the 4 Mile Circus. We are playing Summer Rose Court. Again, it's Act 2. Let's click on. We're off to Beacon. We're travelling, we've got some travelling music. Draconic resilience shortens our trip by half. So it's myself, Glinda, and Zang. Zang? Who the hell's Zang? With Yang. Why the rush anyway? We've agreed to come along, isn't that enough? Glinda. My colleague Lord Ozpin, I mistakenly thought he was a bad guy. His life is at stake. Why? Why? Because Ruby's not on the throne? Precisely, the throne has its own magic and it does not suffer usurpers. Anyone not of the Rose bloodline who dares to use the throne's power is drained of their aura. Oh, right, so it's damaging him sitting on the throne. This is eventually fatal. Poor Lord Ozpin. How I misjudged him. Her. Don't know. Him? Her? You need not worry about your safe, Lady Ruby. It will not harm you. That's right. That's right, because I'm the rightful heir. However, with Ozpin so occupied, we've been unable to deal with certain concerns. Like what? Asking for assistance from other planes, for one. Without allies, it is unlikely that we would come away as the victors in any upcoming conflicts. However, to open a connection to another universe is no small feat. The throne is needed. But Ozpin struggles enough merely to sit upon it, poor fella. There is also unrest within the city because of the faunus? The faunus. I see. She doesn't know what she's talking about, does she? Rose is just like, what on earth is a faunus? In peacetime, such unrest would usually die down by itself, but with the Grimm acting as aggressively as they are, the citizens are tense. Now, we've taken on the Grimm, we've kicked a few in the face. I'm not too worried about those guys. We cannot afford such instability, but we have been unable to stop it. To take care of either matter, we must be strong. Strong. Have you seen Yang's six-pack? God, I can't speak tonight. Six-pack. At the very least, we must appear to be strong. Right now, Ozpin cannot do either. Okay. Our whole kingdom depending on me, whispers Voice to herself. Yang. So Ruby gets to deal with this all, huh? She will not be without help. Ozpin and I will assist you, Lady Rose, so you needn't worry too much. Come on, Ruby, you can do it. That first night away from the village, I spent a lot more time staring at the sky than getting any sleep. We had set up a schedule, one awake while the other two attempt to rest, but every time I close my eyes, I feel the nightmares begin to build again. They've been with me for years. I know the warning signs by heart. Everything about my body lets me know that there will be no peace tonight. Not if Yang has a way with you, let me tell you. Though lately the nightmares have been settling down, the attack on the village must have rekindled them to their full fury. What is it with the Grimm? Why are they so angry? Yang can't sleep. Hopefully. I'm not really surprised she's awake. We're used to sharing the tent. Being out and exposed like this, it's unnerving. Ruby Rose. Not really, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't try. I hear a rustle as she drags her things closer to mine. Yang. Nah, I'm fine. Who needs sleep anyway? Exactly. Laughing under my breath, I duck my head down. The air is cold, and I shiver even with the heat of our campfire nearby. Ruby Rose. I wish I could sleep, but my head, Yang. The nightmares again? Yeah, I thought I was over them. Me too, says Yang. Must be tough. Not wanting to agree, I just shrug and avert my gaze. Excuse me. We're both quiet for a long time, listening carefully for any sign of a threat. But the night is peaceful, and we're not in Grimm territory. The only demons here are the ones we brought along with us. Yang, I don't even know who you are, do I? Yang? You, this long-lost princess. When Dad told me the truth about you, where you came from, I thought it was a joke. Even if we had to keep it secret, even when you and I talked about it, it didn't feel real. I was too scared to believe it. I didn't want to. Poor Yang. It's complex, Yang. I'm sorry, Yang. I don't want to go back there. I want to stay in the desert. You know I do. But the Grimm, they've never acted like this before. They've got past the defences you set up around the camp, and they killed so many of our people. Yang, I know, I'm not arguing with you there. I'm just saying. I was always scared that one day you'd leave again, just as quick and as quiet as you arrived. Now that it's happened, I'm just relieved I was able to go with you. Good for you, Yang. I'm glad too. I don't think I can do this alone. You won't, Ruby. I mean, Princess Ruby? Princess Ruby? I mean, she's confused. Is that even your name? Who are you, really? Ruby Rose. I'm Ruby Rose. That was never a lie. My full name is a bit strange, but Uncle Crow. I've always struggled with Uncle Crow's name. Is it Crow? Someone tell me. Nicknamed me Ruby and it's stuck. I'm so used to it now I think of it as my real name. And I wouldn't be the first monarch to rule by a nickname. So really you can keep calling me that. She's getting into this queen lark, isn't she? She's grown into the role. I actually prefer it. I hate my real name. Oh, I hate my real name. And Rose? There are a million roses in Vale, Yang. That doesn't even get into some of the other offshoots of the royal lineage. There are the roses, the black roses, the stone roses. Love the stone roses. We're talking about the band. The Rosarks, the Rosalinds, the Rose Thorns, the Snowfires, Roses. That's nice. Rosewells, Rosewoods. Alright, I get it. There are a lot of roses. Tons. I had to memorise them all when I was still living in the castle. I guess it stuck. It's just a common surname, especially among nobles or people who hail from that part of the plain. I doubt I'm the only Ruby Rose in the land. But there's only one true Rose heir, and that's you. Oh, it sure is. Yeah, apparently. It's kind of nice to finally be able to talk about this stuff. Well, I'm here if you ever need to vent. Thanks. And Yang? Yeah? Please, when we get to Vale, don't let this Osbin guy call me by my real name. I'm Ruby. You're Ruby. Even as a queen or a princess, I don't want that to change. I had to leave the rest of my Xiao long life behind. I don't want to lose that too. Poor Ruby Rose. I don't want to lose my name. Yang, you won't, I promise. But so it doesn't catch me by surprise, what is your princess name? Leaning closer, I put a hand on her shoulder and whisper it into her ear. She starts laughing. Hey, Yang, no. Yang, no, it's not funny. Oh my god, that is the dorkiest. What is it, Brian? Yang! How do you even spell that? Covering my face, I turn away from her. You're the worst. I knew I shouldn't have told you. Don't worry, little Rose. I'll keep your name safe for you. That mollifies me somewhat, but I'm still peeved for a while that she'd laughed at me. I want to know what's her name. Sometime in the middle of the night, I fall asleep next to her, head resting on her shoulder. Isn't that a nice scene? She takes both of our shifts. Oh, she's a soldier, isn't she? We rise early in the morning and travel well into the night, stopping only for necessities in the midday sun. Yang, Your Grace, Your Grace? Wow. That is a shift. Your Grace, are you ready to leave yet? Yang, stop calling me that. Yes. Glinda's awake. Glinda's up. Putting in a light little bird flying in the sky, a little hawk. Yes, a princess should be properly addressed as Your Highness after her coronation, of course. After her coronation, of course. I'll try and get that right, of course. You should refer to her as Your Majesty. In that case, Your Highness are... Don't even, I swear I'll make you the court jester. Okay, nice bit of artwork, I like it. Gradually the land shifts from sand and sparse desert scrub to more and more green, rolling hills of grass and trees. It rains, much harder and longer than what Yang and I are used to, but we ride through it. Ugh, I'm soaked. Yang, my cheeks are getting which ones? From riding these dragons, that's the problem. And yeah, she's ahead of me there. She's ahead of my crudeness. And I don't mean the ones people kiss. Well, no. God. It seems like it's a portal into my own mind, this. And I don't mean the ones people kiss, not normally anyway. Only for special occasions. Okay, there's the town. It's almost noon when we finally arrive at Beacon, the sun high overhead. The light glints off the surface of the lake. I love it. It's like that's something from Lord of the Rings, isn't it? The light glints off the surface of the lake. There are ships, some anchored in the harbour and other heading eastward towards the river's mouth. Ember and Salika's claws scrape and clatter as we cross the bridge. Dragons are arriving. There's more than enough space for us to ride abreast. What's Glinda doing? Halfway across the bridge leading into Beacon, Glinda raises one hand, not slowing a bit. She sends something flying into the air. When the object reaches its peak, she opens her fist and it explodes. A loud rumble booming out for any in the area to hear. I think that's a signal, isn't it? The Queen has arrived. I don't know. Why did you do that? Said Yang. Glinda, to inform the guards I've returned. As I said, haste is important. Okay, and we're in. Look, wow, portcullis. We're into the castle. We passed the first of the city's walls easily enough. The guards posted wave us through with hardly a glance. The castle gates are another story, still closed despite Glinda's signal. It takes a few shouts to rouse the two guards that stumble out. Come on, sleepyheads. One of them is sleepily dishevelled, his hair uncombed and sticking up at odd angles. At least he had his spear and his mail. So what's going on here? This rabble. What on earth is happening? Stand to, dress that lion, suck in that gut. The other has only his clothes, a helmet askew on his head, and a now dripping mug, probably ale, if the smell coming off them off them both is anything to go by. Wow, okay, so morale has slipped in Beacon. We're going to put this straight. It takes them a few tries, but eventually they open the gate and we enter the castle's courtyard. Yang, you know you've got good walls and all, but shouldn't you have more than two drunk guards for a gate this important? Glinda looks a bit embarrassed. She's like, yeah, wow, I wish I hadn't seen that. Glinda, Torchwick's men again. I'll have to talk to him. Who is this Torchwick? Another matter for another time. For now, Ozpin is waiting. Man, I love all this artwork, it's lovely. As we approach the throne room, I feel an oppressive stillness in the air, itself terrible, yet familiar. It sets me on edge. My palms begin to sweat the way they do on nights when I can't sleep for fear of what nightmares await me. Okay. Glinda notices it too. She picks up the pace, her heels clicking hard on the stone floor as she throws open the doors to the throne room. Oh no! Oh no, is it Ozpin? A strange man is sitting on the rose throne, the telltale blaze of his semblance flaring up like a bonfire. Semblance is like an aura. I've had some of it explained to me because I'm an idiot. But yeah, it's like an aura of some sort. Flaring up like a bonfire. Where is he? Is he there? I can't see him. Steel rose vines encircle his wrist, shackling him to the throne. Wow, this doesn't sound like it's a good deal, does it? Another row of vines wrap around his throat, tight as a vice, forcing his head upright. Whoa, okay. Rivulets of blood course down his neck, crusting on the front of his shirt. He opens his eyes, staring directly at me. Ozpin, at last we meet. Wow, that is a rough deal sitting on that throne, isn't it? It isn't fear or confusion that strikes me at the look in his eyes, but a deep jolt of recognition. He holds my gaze for a heartbeat before breaking the connection between us, and the storm dies down. Struggling to resolve the dissonance between my revulsion and fascination, I keep silent as the waves of aura fade away. The world calms, the air settling from the magic that had just filled the room. Ozpin. There is no recollection tickling the back of my brain anymore, and no terrifying spectre on my parents' throne. Just an old man, trembling on a chair that is far too big for his frail body. So she imagined that, did she? She saw that for a second? Addled with pain and confusion, the man doesn't look at me anymore, but through me, eyes seeing something that the rest of us can't reach. Glinda. Ozpin. She trots over to him, carefully peeling the vines away from her nose. It did happen. Carefully peeling the vines away from his neck and wrists. Ozpin doesn't say anything to indicate that it hurts. Wow. Limply, he allows her to put his coat back on. Should have a moth in my hair. Get away, moth. Back, moth. He allows her to put his coat back on and rolls his sleeves down, helping him to stand up. Glinda. I told you not to use the throne unless absolutely necessary. Ozpin has the look of a tortured man. The man's voice is faint, hoarse. Lord Ozpin. It was necessary. I'm going to do a voice for Ozpin. Turning his attention to me, again he manages to focus. A crooked smile makes his face handsome, almost. Genuine kindness shines from his eyes. Ruby Rose. The last time I saw you, you were but an infant swaddled in your mother's arms. Swaddled, not swaddled. Sorry, it's the vines. Before he can say anything else, his eyes roll back into his skull and his knees give way. Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm in sync. Yang, whoa. Yang runs out to help catch him, helping Glinda set him gently on the floor. Yang, who is this guy? Glinda, this is Lord Ozpin, the man who has been trying to keep this kingdom safe and a very dear friend. So what's the deal with the throne and the vines? Glinda takes his hand to inspect the wounds on his wrist. And an idiot who has lost far too much blood. Well, let's not be too harsh on the man. Glinda calls for a guard and hovers anxiously as they take him away. She speaks under her breath, not to me or to Yang, but to herself. Her fists clench and unclench, nails digging into her palms. She's not happy. Glinda, he's dying. He's dying right now. I told him one more session on the throne would be too much, but he... Noticing us staring at her, she straightens her back. Ruby, it's time. We need to crown you immediately. I think we do. Ozpin can't go back on that throne. My heart sinks like a stone, blood pounding in my ears. Me? On that? I cast my gaze over to the throne. Drops of blood still dot the armrest, sinister with intent. But I think you're going to be alright, Ruby. I think they said you'll be alright. Thing? Glinda, and now you see with your own eyes the price of being a usurper. Yeah, exactly. Fear not, Rose. As the rightful heir, you don't risk the same dangers that the throne poses for Ozpin. I see, so anyone who isn't a Rose, we've covered this already, but anyone who's a Rose shouldn't be sitting on the throne. You become part of the furniture, vines all over you, but if you don't sever his connection with the throne and establish yours... Taking my hand in a fierce grip, Yang pulls me away from the throne and from Glinda. That's it, Yang steps in. Heat sparks up, flames coursing along the twitching muscles in her arms and back. You don't want to mess with Yang. Yep, there's a fiery aspect. Yang, no way. Six-pack on. Ruby, come on, we're leaving. You're not getting on that death trap. Glinda is... She's gone sweaty again. She's gone into sweat mode. We should never have even come here. We gotta see this through. I'm not scared. Sliding my hand free from Yang's grip, I shake my head. No, Yang. I'm not afraid. This power, it's the same one my parents used. They never let me see. Always locked the doors. But I remember the way it felt. The stillness in the air. Yang is slightly mollified there. A shiver rolls down my spine. Swallowing the lump in my throat, I try not to let my voice shake as I speak to Glinda. You said it won't hurt me like it hurts Ozpin, right? Glinda, that's correct. Then let's do it. Come on, Ruby. Though she tries to keep her tone even, a faint tinge of desperation colours her words as Glinda explains how it will happen. Don't, Glinda. It will only take a moment to attune yourself to the throne. There will be no pain, and you will not have to go to the lengths Ozpin does to use the throne's power. All you have to do is sit. Sweating straight through my clothes, I struggle to keep my resolve. The urge to run away looms huge in my mind. And then I remember how Ozpin looked, a husk of a human being as he was carted away. If I can help him just by doing this, then I don't really have a choice, do I? Go, Ruby. Walking towards the throne with a tremor in every step, I ignore Yang's protest and turn to sit. Here we go. It's the big moment. Oh, wow. The vines whip out immediately, lashing me to the throne. Power surges through me, raw and unfiltered. So much. Too much power. Too much. Vaguely I can sense the winds picking up, my own semblance amplified and expanded by the power of the throne. Ruby! Yang yells, her semblance flaring up in an inferno. I love the way she flames on. But just as quickly as the vines taste my blood, they retreat back into the design of the chair, and I'm left with nothing but a few shallow cuts. Glinda lets out a huge breath of relief. My hands stop trembling, calm overtaking me. In the wake of that terrible, awesome power, I am left curiously empty. The chair had accepted me as the rightful queen. Glinda, thank goodness, it worked. Oh yeah, the queen is back. The hard part is over, now we just need to complete the formalities. The news that the Rose heir has been found stirs mixed emotions in the kingdom. A huge crowd gathers at my coronation the next day regardless, with everyone eager to see their new queen. The steel circlet that Glinda will place over my head holds no power in itself, but the symbolism of it is important, or that's what she says anyway. Coronation scene. We're in a crowd, we're in amongst the crowd. Though he's still suffering from the effect of the throne, Ozpin is well enough to attend. He oversees the ceremony himself, so he's okay. I thought they said he was dying. That's good. I can't remember ever seeing so many people at once. I can only look at their faces, hundreds of them, maybe thousands. Each belongs to an individual with hopes and dreams and fears. And there are still more arriving by the second. Each one of these people is going to be depending on me. The reality of it all is humbling beyond belief. In the wake of my parents' rule, how will I compare? Will I be able to carry on their legacy? This is where life as Tai Yang's youngest daughter ends for good. I've returned to the world I was born into, but as a strange oldie cruel irony of it. Living in the desert, even with Yang at my Go away, Bar. Oh, wait a minute, can I go back one? Living in the desert, even with Yang at my side, everyone knew I was an outsider, but really, I don't belong here either. Sensing my nerves, as she always does, Yang puts a hand on the small of my back, steadying me with a familiar, comforting gesture. Gesture? Oh my word. Casting off the negative thoughts like a bad dream, I try to focus on the coronation. I can't think like this now. If I want to be a good queen, I can't get trapped in my own head. I can't second guess myself. I just need to do the best I can. Go for it, Ruby. Standing before Ozpin, I take a deep breath. Though white-knuckled and trembling faintly, he still keeps a strong grip on his cane and stands tall. Our introduction has been brief, strange and terrifying, but I still find myself trusting him implicitly. Crow had trusted this man. I will too. Okay. I like it. Ozpin and I stand facing each other at arm's length. A silver basin filled to the brim with rosewater sits between us. He breaks the water's surface with the tip of his thumb and middle finger. Placing his wet fingers at the edge of my jaw, he draws them forward to meet at my chin, over the crests of my cheeks, the bridge of my nose. He hands his cane to Glinda, who has stepped forward to receive it. His hands tremble, almost too weak to lift the crown off his head. His breathing is laboured until the very moment the crown loses contact with his head, and I bow my head to receive it. The crown, crafted of such delicate metal, is so light I can barely feel it on my head. What I can feel is the way the crowd's energy changes when Ozpin puts it on me. Their expectation is heavy, almost crushing. Okay. As Ozpin closes the ceremony and the crowd disperses, I blink at the cloudless sky. For today the sun is shining. The future may be dark and uncertain, but I've survived this long. That has to count for something. You goddamn right, Ruby. Okay. Coronation over. In the days following my coronation, Glinda sees to it that I learn my way around the castle. After that, she starts teaching me about the city itself. Integrating into castle life has been hard for Yang, but she made friends amongst the guards easier than I did. They were probably very impressed by her. There weren't any ranks or titles between her and them. The way my status as queen keeps me at arm's length from just about everybody. She goes off to explore the city on her own, whilst Glinda gives me a tour. Look at my robes. There's been a certain upgrade in the wardrobe department, Glinda, and the roads here not only channel citizens between districts, but also serve as trade roads and areas of informal commerce. Moving along, there really are a lot of people all over the place. All this hustle and bustle is kind of making me nervous. Getting used to moving in all this armour isn't making things any easier either. Hope you've got your armoured pants on. Ruby Rose, is it really okay for me to be out like this? Glinda, you have me as an escort. The wizards have considerable clout in the city, rivaling that of the royal family, and the power to back it up. No one will bother us, trust me. In any case, the market is this way. It's the easiest part of the city to find, and the hardest to leave. Please stay close. I can't protect you if you don't keep me within eyeshot, understand? Yes, ma'am, says Ruby. Each person has their own destination, but as a whole they're an indistinct mass of current movement. And as we progress through the busy market, the path gradually clears as the people become aware of Glinda's presence. Wow, so the wizards are quite powerful. Rival the royal family? Recognition gives way to short-lived confusion as they notice me walking beside her. Each time a spark of unfamiliar deference lights up in their eyes upon realising who I am, and they step aside. It's a bit weird. Ruby Rose, I'm getting dizzy just watching everyone. Glinda, understandably so, but make certain to keep your wits about you at all times, lest you find your pockets lighter than they were when we came. Someone's going to rob the Queen. Let us move on. We move through the crowds and towards a less busy side street. Glinda has a talent for this. People move quickly to get out of her way. I follow close behind her. In this direction one finds the much quieter housing districts. At the sun's height there are often children idling and playing together, but it remains a place of relative calm amongst the other districts. The market, the menageries. Ruby Rose, menageries? You mean places with cute little animals to look at? Oh wow, please take me right away. Please, please, please. You've got a buzz on. Remember yourself, Your Majesty. Sorry, she's a bit of a killjoy, but you'll take me right. Can't you just tell her? Can't you just order her now, Ruby? Now you're the Queen. But you'll take me right. I don't quite believe you'll see what you're expecting to see. However, I suppose you'll need to see them eventually. A Queen must know her domain after all. I shall accompany you. Oh, thank you, I can't wait. Okay, Ruby's got a happy little face. We're going to go look at some cute little animals. Like demon-type cloud monsters. As we venture beyond the periphery of the housing district, my excitement quickly fades, replaced with a sickening coil of dread, which settles in my stomach and twists up through my ribs. The gate before us, I know I'm never going to forget it. I know I'll always remember the sound of its creaking hinges. I feel suffocated. I want to leave. Oh, okay, this isn't quite what we thought it was going to be. This place is empty of peace or charm. There are only shadows, and beyond them angry glares and harsh whispers. The crude dwellings lining the road look unfit to live in, even for animals. Yeah, I mean, if you're calling it a menagerie, it's gonna put a down on the people living there. You wanted to see them, did you not? This is one of the menageries, where all Faunus citizens reside. Okay. With myself away from the city in search of you, and Ozpin chained to the throne, the person we chose to run this city betrayed us and betrayed our trust, and in this day and age, well, let's just say we're fortunate enough to have you back. So, who's this? I look closer at the few people I can see, and I notice ears and tails flickering at our intrusion. I can't begin to imagine what they're feeling. Right, it's interesting. They're trapped here, caged. And here I am with the freedom to leave whenever I want. Sorry. I can feel their hate like pressure on my skin. This must seem like mockery. Two human nobles come to gawk at the spectacle. Yeah, quite really. Yeah. I don't think any of them were there to see my coronation. I hadn't noticed any animal features in the crowd, but I'm their queen too. Do they recognise me? I can hear a baby crying in the distance. Those children old enough to walk are wandering about, eyes listless and vacant. I bow my head to hide my expression from Glinda as I turn towards the gate again. So what? There are people that are sort of part animal and they're keeping them all in a certain part? That run-down part of the city, they call it the menagerie? Ruby Rose, I've seen enough. Yeah, I think Ruby's going to sort this out, isn't she? I've got a good feeling Ruby's going to sort this out. This isn't what I thought it would be. Hello, hello. As I turn, I see a woman watching me from an alley. Her gold eyes, slanted as if in accusation, fix me with a penetrating glare. She's got ears. Feline ears protruding from the crown of her head perk up for a moment before they flatten against her skull in anger. There's something about her, something in her eyes, in her stance that feels different from everyone else. Like she's accustomed to this filth, yet not part of it, separate, above it. Even here she stands at ease, without the sense of defeat I see on every other face present. Tossing me one last disdainful glance, she folds her arms and disappears into the back of the alley. Okay, like a cat girl. Glinda and I leave. She seems an interesting character. I follow Glinda back to the densely packed marketplace. All around her people swarm, shouting and bumping into each other. Someone crashes into me particularly rough. Hey, look, I'm in sync with this game. A space around us clears as a dome of heat surrounds us. Okay. Oh, I see. Is this Glinda casting some magic? She's got her angry face on again. The sweaty face of anger. Glinda is alarmed at stop it. Glinda is alarmed at first, but then we quickly both realise what had happened. It was Yang. I smile back at Yang, who walks at ease in the crowd towards us, everyone doing their best to avoid the blistering heat she emanates. She's a badass, isn't she? Thanks for joining us, Yang. Yang rests a reassuring hand on my shoulder and steers me towards Glinda, who's standing next to an open door leading to an unfamiliar building. It looks recently built and a touch more sturdy than the one surrounding it. A warehouse, maybe? Yang. Hey, little Rose. Sorry I didn't come with you today. I wandered off to do some exploring of my own. It's okay. I think of the menageries. Look, little sad face now. Little sad face. You probably wouldn't have liked it anyway. Nice of you to join us, Jiao Long. Her name's Yang. Nice of you to join us, Jiao Long. Check to make sure you haven't lost anything important, then follow me. Okay. It wasn't supposed to be so hot today. Yeah, a little fanning expression. It's a new one. So what parts of the city did you see today? Yang. Honestly, not much. I spent most of my time chatting with the castle guard. After that display at the gates when we first arrived, I was worried about the security here. Yeah, and it seems like there's sort of a divide there. There were the castle guard. Yeah, but a lot of private contractors too. Really? Wow, very modern. And all of those belong to a guy named... this is the Torchwick guy. His name's cropping up in all the wrong places at the moment. I'm going to set my sights on Torchwick. Glinda sighs. That's something we'll discuss today as well. Ozpin can probably do a better job than I can. Needless to say, I trust the fellow about as far as I can throw him. It might be quite far knowing Glinda. She could probably throw him a half mile. Considering her power, that probably isn't as apt an analogy as she intended. Wow, can't say that quickly. Vividly, I imagine Glinda picking up someone she disliked with her magic and hurling him across Beacon's cliffs. Yeah, there's a little funny moment to herself there. She's like, yeah, that's funny, I like that. Glinda, but he's gotten too powerful in too short a time for me to openly challenge him. The people love him. Sounds a character. Or the humans do. Ooh, there's the rub. He's actually our last stop on today's tour of the city. Good, I want to meet him. You'll have to meet him sooner or later. We walk inside the warehouse to meet this infamous Torchwick fellow. I spot him almost at once, a man in a white coat and a black hat. Glinda walks ahead of us, already engaging him in conversation. I can barely hear her asking about the guards over the bustle of the market right outside. Interrupting Glinda with a silencing hand, he regards one of his cronies who had come to bring him something. It's pretty rude. It's a slice of pie. Lifting it to his nose, he gives it a few whiffs before his face crinkles in disgust. He sticks his finger into the pie, then yells at whoever it was who brought it to him, waving the soiled finger around accusingly. Only when he's done giving his employer thorough tongue-lashing does he return his attention to Glinda and to us. He's a bit of an ass straight away, isn't he? What the... Whoa. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Medallions, gold, chest hair. There is. There's a lot to take in there. Good chest hair. I've never liked that style. What that face? What's Ruby's face? She's like, nah. Check it out. He rocks those hills better than you. Oh, Yang. Okay, there he is. Torchwick. Looking pretty cool. He's looking. There is a lot going on there. We've got a beret with feathers and gloves and a little cigar. Well, well. If it isn't the new monarch, Queen Red. Queen Ruby, says Glinda. He's very disrespectful, isn't he? Straight away. Sure. I like that. Look at the little smoke there. Oh, wow. Quick bowing animation. He bows to me, the feather on his hat bouncing with the movement. Roman Torchwick. A pleasure to meet you, Your Majesty. They call me Roman Torchwick, and I work down here in the lower parts of the city, aiding Lord Ozpin and the Lady Goodwitch in more mundane matters. Mr. Torchwick helps us monitor trade through the city, and he helps to keep anything unsavoury from getting in. Oh, we saw his guards, they were a rabble. Indeed I do. Ka-ching! Look at his little glint in his eye. I bet he lets lots of unsavoury stuff in. He looks pretty unsavoury himself. There's something about his eyes, I can't place it, but I know I don't like it. What? Well, I thought he'd just shazammed and changed into something else then. No, he hasn't. Crony. Sir, this is from Jane's blueberry harvests. Are these the ones you want sent out? I can't keep that up. Roman. Torchwick. Weren't you listening earlier, you idiot? I've said it 8 times. The June harvest is fine. The May harvest was ruined. Sorry about that, but you know what they say. If you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. It doesn't look like you're doing anything except yell at people. Hey, Yang's hungry. Hey, you selling those pies? They smell great and I didn't get much for lunch. There it is again. That little glinty eye. Torchwick, how about this? We'll try the new Queen's luck. Okay. If it lands as she calls, you get the pie free of charge. Say what? If it doesn't, you have to pay full price, full gold. There's no downside for you. Do we have a deal? What? That's the Queen's pie. That is the Queen's pie. Yang, you've got this, Ruby, and more importantly, I gotta get that pie. Gotta get that pie, okay? Toss it. Why should we do this? Why don't we just take the pie off him and have him thrown in the prisons? We're gonna go for Tails. Oh, what? Say what? Oh, better luck next time, Your Majesty, and that'll be full gold from you, miss. Glinda, if you are all quite done, can we be assured, Mr. Torchwick, I'm going to try and give her a posh voice, Mr. Torchwick, that you will continue to aid Queen Rose as you have aided Lord Ozpin. He didn't seem to aid Lord Ozpin that much, did he? I mean, he was on death's door when we found him. Roman Torchwick, of course, Lady Goodwitch. Then tell your mate at the gate to shape up or I'll have them used as Beowulf bait. Beowulf bait? Beowulf bait. Are we clear? Not intimidated in the slightest, Roman takes a long drag from his cigar, meeting Glinda's eyes in an even stare. Then his lips twitch, grinning insincerely. Crystal. It was a pleasure to meet you, Your Majesty, but I do have work to get back to. I hope we can have another chat sometime soon. He seems one of the most insincere characters so far. It was nice meeting you as well, Mr. Torchwick, and thank you for watching over our trade. Yeah, he's got his fingers in a few other pies, I would say. We leave as Roman starts yelling at someone else. Soon Glinda leads us into a public house. Hey, let's get drunk where we can have a drink and Yang can eat her pie. Very expensive pie for full gold, I would imagine. Glinda, if you ladies will excuse me. Yang, so what did you think of that Torchwick guy? I don't really know. He seemed okay, but there's something about him I just don't like. I just can't put my finger on it. Yang, that's fine. You don't have to figure it out yet. Still, we should keep a close eye on him. It's never good to ignore a bad feeling. Instincts are the dark part of our mind sending us a message. I like it. Just remember what Dad always said, never trust a merchant. I nod absently. What was that I saw in his eyes? Anger? Mockery? He knows something. Glinda returns and I remember something I've been thinking about since the coronation. Seeing the woman in the menagerie and meeting Roman has only made me more determined. Glinda, there was something I wanted to talk to you about. Yes? I know I was just supposed to be the queen. That all you need me to do is sit on the throne and wear the crown, but I want to help people. Go, Ruby. You're mere presence. I want to do more, though. Whatever that means, whether it's keeping an eye on the trade or keeping track of the kingdom's records, whatever it is. Yeah, let's take over the trade. Let's oust Goodwitch. Goodwitch? Torchwick. God, I'm getting them confused. I think a queen should be do more than just be present. Glinda's a bit baffled by this. Very well, we'll talk to Lord Ozpin when we return to the castle, and we'll see what you can do, personally, to help the kingdom. I like the in music, by the way. I'm sure your subjects will appreciate it. Back to the castle. At this hour, you'll find Lord Ozpin in the library, most likely. Do you need a guide? Nah, I got it, says Yang. The man in green gave me schematics to the castle and the city, so I've got it all up in my noggin. Come on, Ruby, I'll show you the way. Yang is just multi-talented. Ozpin, you're looking a lot better now. There he is. I like it. We're in the sort of study library. It's cool. Yeah, do you mind waiting outside though? I want to speak to him privately. Ooh. Sure, little Rose. I'll never be farther than a shout away if you need me. Got to keep the princess safe from all these strange new people, you know? Queen Yang, actually. I'm officially the queen now. Ooh, excuse me, your majesty. Can you find it in your heart to forgive this lowly commoner? Yang! Lord Ozpin's just been watching this. It's like, what? Come on, I'm trying to read a book here. Do you need something, your highness? Oops, that's my cue to leave. Good luck, oh queenliness. Just you and me, Ozpin. I heard you took a tour of the city today. Yes, sir. Don't call him sir. How did you find it? It wasn't really... there was a lot of... Ruby? Sir, why am I even here? I mean, why now of all times? Uncle Crow took me to the Dowlong village 7 years ago and told me to forget my old life. And I did. I didn't really have a choice. But now I'm here again. I've been taken from everything I knew and I've landed in the middle of a huge mess, one I don't even know how to fix. This is my kingdom, or it's supposed to be. I stayed in the village because I thought Vale didn't need me anymore, but now I see it needs me more than ever. It's a wreck out there, and you're in here fighting for your life just to keeping it afloat. So I have so many questions. Okay, Lord Ozpin, then I will try to answer them. Oh wow, okay. Okay, so why did Uncle Crow take me to the Dowlongs? Why am I here? I saw the menageries. Who are the High Wizards? What should I do now? How do I open the portals to the plains? I don't have any more questions, so I'm going to start with the menageries. The blame for that falls completely under my incompetence as a ruler. Cool. At first, Torchwick's involvement in the community was a blessing. There's Torchwick. There's his little cigar. While I fought for my life here on the throne, it felt like someone had risen up to help sort out the common people in the wake of the disaster and the political turmoil that followed your parents' deaths. Uh-oh. But before I knew it, he was too powerful for his own good. Greed had driven him to extremes, and there's nothing people love more than a scapegoat. The issue of the menageries is one that troubles me greatly, Ruby Rose, more than I can express with words. So has he sort of said that, has he blamed the faunus for problems? I know Crow would never have let these things get this bad, but without his guidance, I honestly don't know how we can turn this around. I wish I had all the answers, but I don't, not for this at least. Ruby, well, there's something Crow always told me. No matter how far you go in a bad direction, you always have the power to turn around. Wise words. And as rulers, we have even more power than most. You and I are going to fix this together somehow. I like it. She's got some determination in her, Ruby has. I admire your optimism. You carry your parents' fire, certainly. Bringing you here might be exactly what we need to turn things around, after all. Okay, well, I think we know that one. Who are the High Wizards? You've already met one of them. Lady Glinda of the North Mountain is... Wait, Glinda's a... How did you miss that, Ruby? Glinda's a wizard? I mean, I knew she used magic, but with the title like High Wizard... I guess that explains how she didn't die of heatstroke wearing that ridiculous outfit in the desert. It was rather high-collared and it looks uncomfortable. It doesn't look like desert wear, does it? Lord Ozpin, I'd advise you not to let her hear you say that. She's a prodigy amongst wizards and has well earned her place here in the court. Ruby Rose, oh, I know, I was just saying she's so strong it makes sense. So what do the High Wizards do? I know they manage the portals, but other than that, I've never learnt much about them. As a group, they study the ancient languages and magics of Vale. They work beside the crown rather than serving directly under it, and the eldest of the wizards guard and maintain the portals to other planes. As difficult as it was for me to wear that crown, it was 10 times as taxing for them to continue their duty. Even when closed, the portals demand attention. The High Wizards suffer great emotional and physical pains to keep the portals from crumbling around us, and to keep the magic protecting the city running at full capacity. This is to say nothing of how impossible it would be to actually open a portal. Even with a full-blooded Rose monarch on the throne, the strain of it opening a portal may very well kill one of the High Wizards. Okay, so it's serious business. I love these graphics, look at the vines. Or you, your majesty. It is not a task to be undertaken lightly. Do you really not remember any of this? Wasn't she a baby when they took her away? What part of I was taken away in the dead of the night during a Grimm attack, dropped off in a strange village and told to forget my old life? Do you keep forgetting? Ooh, she's getting snarky. Oh, of course. You have to understand, Ruby. That's Queen Ruby. Please. We didn't even know where Crow had taken you until very recently. I assumed all this time that you would be with him. And even when we did learn, I was hesitant to bring you back to this mess. Indeed. I love this artwork. Maybe it was selfish of me, but Crow valued your safety above all things. I wanted to respect that. Okay. How do I open the portals? First, we must establish contact with the High Wizards. The rest is a matter of ceremony and witchcraft. It's not easy, but we'll walk you through the ritual. We'll give you a list of our allies and their planes, and you will choose who to approach and when. I must warn you now, Ruby Rose, the stress of opening a portal has been known to kill. As dire as our need is, there are none who would call you a coward for being hesitant. In the end, we cannot force you to open a portal against your will. Ruby, I don't know yet if I want to open any portals. Have we worked out what we get when we open a portal? Do I know that yet? But if you think it's what we should do, then I have to at least try. What should I do now? Okay. Above all, I would recommend that you create a council of representatives from the different planes. When we send out our requests for aid, they will most likely respond with dignitaries and monks, priests and warriors, whoever they deem fit to answer the call. Okay, it's going to be interesting. In some cases, they might not even deign to send us anyone, and you'll need to go through the portal yourself to establish contact. It will be your job and mine to convince them that their aid is needed. And this is the hardest part. You must accept it. Wait, how's that hard? People have a way of being contrary. The differences between the planes will only exacerbate those difficulties. You have a table full of conflicting opinions, and as the one who called upon them, it is your place to ensure that everything goes smoothly. You might receive conflicting advice. It will be your job to sort through their complaints, sensing the difficulties ahead, and confirm their commitment to our cause. Right. I love all this stuff, it's great. And don't worry, you'll have me at your side, and Glinda as well. We will serve you as we served your parents. By the time we're done with you, you'll be well groomed for leadership. It is your birthright. Okay. Yeah, I think we know these things while you're here. I don't have any more questions. Then we'll begin the preparations to open the portals as soon as you are ready, Your Majesty. Your first order of business will be to choose the members of your council, as your predecessors did in times of crisis. As Queen, can I make a request? Of course. I want Yang on my council. If there's a representative of every plane, then we need one from our plane too, right? It doesn't look like that. I was watching his face then to see if it changed. He does not like that. I'm not sure that's wise. I know she's brash and wild, but Yang is a competent fighter and a smart tactician, and quite hot with a six-pack. She helped organise the militia back home, and she and her dad, they both took care of the village needs. She's smarter than people give her credit for, and she picks up on things I miss. I need her with me. We'll call her the Queen's Guard or something. She might even be able to help with the garrison here if they'll have her. That can definitely be arranged. The threat from the creatures of Grimm is greater now than it has ever been, and your kingdom will need to be more than the sum of its parts in order to combat it. Are you prepared for this? Do I really have a choice? Always. Then yes, I'll be ready as soon as tomorrow. After all, I'm going to be queen. I can't just sit around on the throne while you and Glinda take care of the dangerous work. This is my responsibility. I'm taking it. And I will be with you every step of the way. Okay, that was a good little chat with Ozpin. I like it. Constructive work there. Tense music, here we go. Night falls over the kingdom. The sky inky black and empty without even the crumbling moon to light the way. The moment I allow myself to relax after my long and trying day, exhaustion hits me harder than a punch to the gut. The bed I collapse into is my own, the same as it had been 7 years ago. She's out. It smells like dust and age, but mostly it reminds me of my mother. Ah, poor Ruby. I still remember the perfume she wore, sweet rose water mixing with the fresh linen of her dress, crisp and clean, the oil in her armour's joints. She sounds badass, doesn't she, Emma? The heavy grey feeling that lingers in the air before a rainstorm. Oh, I like the way that did that there. Look at that. That's a nice transition. These creatures. Burying my face harder into the pillows, I try not to remember the bed is still far too big for just one person. It always was lonely in here. Still, sleep doesn't come easy. The nightmares are only getting worse. Travelling with Glinda took a lot out of me, riding hard during the day and barely getting any sleep at night. I had hoped being back in my childhood home would ease them somewhat, but it doesn't look likely. Every time I feel like I might relax long enough to slip into unconsciousness, a sudden jab of anxiety pierces through me, and I stay awake for another hour staring at the ceiling. It's almost as if someone doesn't want me to sleep. It must be my body's sense of self-preservation. Even if I want to sleep, even if I want sleep, the fear of what awaits me keeps me alert. Eventually I succumb. The dreams begin again, as I knew they would, but this night they are more terrible than ever. Blood, as always, dripping from claws in the moonlight, razor grins slicing through the darkness. Somewhere a Grimm moans and shrieks, inhuman and alien. And something new, a muted roaring, dull and insistent and terrifying. After a while the nightmares end, leaving me in darkness with nothing but a vague sense of unease. Poor Ruby, man, she's not getting good sleep. She needs some sleeping pills or something. What's going on? Oh. Okay. Okay, well that's the end of Act 2 Part 1. We've met some interesting characters. Torchwick, he seems a bit of a cad. I'm looking forward to seeing how he develops. We've met the Faunus. I don't know what's going to happen there, but it seems like a sad plight at the moment. I'm hoping Ruby Rose will step in there and sort things out. So, as ever, the game's available for free on itch. There'll be a link in the description below the game. Just head over there, download it and play it. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers, if I can say the word. So it'd be great if you subscribed and joined the journey. But if not, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Take care.